So the Bulls come up short in their third preseason game, this one against the Milwaukee Bucks, their first preseason loss after winning their first two against the Cleveland Cavaliers. As I mentioned before, I'm never really paying attention to the end result of a win or loss in the preseason, but more so what we're seeing on the court, what's working well, what isn't, what are some of the things we're seeing from individual players, who's standing out, who's struggling, all that stuff. Because while this game went down to the wire and the Bulls weren't able to close things out, it was a closing lineup that featured the likes of Lachlan Ulbrich, Emmanuel Miller, and Javon Carter. And it was the same kind of deal on the Bucks side, right? Where you had guys that are on two-way contracts, guys who likely aren't going to be in the rotation. So this obviously would not be a usual clutch game situation that you would otherwise see in the regular season. Now, I'll be honest, I wasn't fully locked in and watching every possession of the fourth quarter. And the reason for that is, well, one, that's when it starts getting to garbage time in the preseason where you see both teams going deep into the bench. But most people probably don't know this about me, but I'm actually a pretty big Mariners fan, nowhere close to the level of fandom when it comes to the Bulls, but living in the Northwest for so many years, I followed the Mariners for a long time, and even though I haven't really had the time to watch the team closely or watch baseball in general like I used to, it is the postseason now, and it's the first time the Mariners have been to the ALCS in 24 years, so I was going back and forth between games, given the Mariners are in game one right now, which, by the way, Adam Amin was calling the ALDS, and he was absolutely incredible on the call in that series. It always amazes me how versatile he is in his ability to call multiple sports with such ease. We're so lucky to have Adam Amin as our lead play-by-play guy for the Chicago Bulls. Anyway, big tangent there. The Mariners end up winning, which is great. Now they're up 1-0 in that series. But despite not paying close attention in the fourth quarter to this game, there were still a lot of things that stood out to me coming out of this one, but also common trends we've been seeing from these first three preseason games. What I like seeing in this game that the Bulls really struggled with in their first two was they took much better care of the ball. Like, yes, they didn't shoot the ball as well, they weren't as efficient in the paint like we've been seeing, but only 10 turnovers when they've averaged over 20 turnovers in those first two games. They played a lot smarter in this one. Like, overall, they were making better passes, better shot selection, knowing when to drive and trying to create contact rather than forcing an extra pass. Like, the Bulls got to the free throw line 36 times in this game. This was a team that was 29th in free throw attempts, averaging just 19.7 per game, and were 29th in overall free throw rate last year. Getting to the line was absolutely something the Bulls needed to work on and improve. That's something I've loved seeing from Josh Giddey, who has consistently gotten to the free throw line in the preseason, something that was a big question mark and a flaw really to his game when he was coming over from OKC was his inability to get to the line and finish at the rim. Both things he's improved towards the end of last season, and what's been also something we've seen thus far in the preseason. Josh Giddey in this game, after not having the best first two preseason games of the year, much better outing tonight. 0 turnovers, 14 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. The other guy who has been much more assertive in getting to the line and arguably the most impressive player so far in the preseason for the Bulls is Modest Bucelis. Modest tonight, 5 for 5 from the free throw line, 19 points in total, 6 for 11 from the field, 4 rebounds. I tweeted this during the game, but Modest is ready, guys. He's ready. Like, I know it's just the preseason, but this kid is playing with no fear, so much confidence, has added so much to his game since last season when it comes to his body control, ball handling, using his left hand to finish the basket, taking Giannis to the rack. In the first game against the Cavs, he was beating the Defensive Player of the Year off the dribble and Evan Mobley to the basket. The step back threes have been added to this game. Like, I need to see all this happen in the regular season before I get too excited, but man, he is poised to have an incredible season, knowing he's going to be in that starting lineup and will be getting consistent minutes for the whole season, unlike what we saw last year. Still needs to work on his defense though. Like, there were a lot of times where he overcommitted in this game, particularly against Giannis, where he would get beat on the backside, but again, that will come with time. He's making incredible strides thus far in the early going. And then shout out to Ayo Dosunmu, man. Like, I know Modest is getting most of the praise, but Ayo has been just as impressive with his play in the preseason. His handles have gotten noticeably better. Like, it's more than just his ability to get downhill and outrun everyone for a finish at the hoop, but he's tightened up his handles to create his own shot in isolation and has looked stronger in fighting off his defender to get the ball up without any deterrence. And because he's been able to do that, because he's been driving more and finishing strong, he's drawing more contact and getting to the free throw line. A very efficient night from Ayo, 22 points on 8 for 12 shooting, 5 for 5 from the line. He's certainly making a case for himself to be getting a bigger role and fighting for those rotational minutes, especially when Isaac Okoro, at least in the early going anyway, has not looked that great. Like, yes, he's been nice defensively, which we know he can do, but on offense, he's struggled to put the ball on the floor and finish at the rim, and that three-point shot isn't falling as well. Listen, man, even Patrick Williams has actually looked decent in the preseason. I need to see it in the regular season, but over the last 2 games, he's looked nice. More physical, more aggressive, more active on the boards, which has always been one of my bigger frustrations with Pat, is why he can't get more rebounds. But 10 points, 8 boards, hell, 5 assists for him too. All of this in 23 minutes. I mean, we'll see. Pat has been known to show up better when the stakes are very low and going up against inferior lineups, which is obviously the case in the preseason, especially when he's coming off the bench and isn't seeing the opponent's starters as much. But it's at least something in the right direction from Patrick Williams. And then Noah Asenge. Asenge had some nice plays in this one. We keep talking about his free throw rate. It's almost funny how easy it is for him to get to the line. Like, he only shot 3 free throws in this one, but it's not like he had the ball that often. But when he did, whenever he did get the ball, he somehow managed to draw a foul. But what was more impressive to me in this game from Asenge was his awareness on the defensive end. His off-ball defense, reading passes, reading those switches on the pick and roll to help protect the rim. Asenge had 3 steals in this game in only 13 minutes. Only 18 years old, hopefully it's a sign of more to come from this young gun who still has so much of his career left ahead of him. Overall, I liked what I saw in this game. Like, even though the Bulls lost this one, I actually thought it was their best preseason game so far, in large part because it looked a lot less sloppy. Their offense flowed much more smoothly without committing an insane amount of turnovers. They were physical and drawing contact, they passed the ball well, and generally speaking, played good team basketball. Dalen Terry got ejected, by the way. That was funny. Got ejected for allegedly throwing a punch at Taurean Prince, even though I saw the replay and it really didn't look like a punch to me. He was just extending his arm out to get Prince off of him. Whatever. At least it's just the preseason, though. Anyway, Bulls are headed to Denver now, where they will take on the Nuggets on Wednesday. Let me know what you guys thought of the game tonight. Let me know in the comments. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.